So you're not going to believe this, but I found out actually this morning in Revelation and prayer, I know every single one of your vocations. Can you believe that? Like, if you is this working? If every one of you were to come up to me, I would be able to tell you, I know your vocation, JP. And yours. I actually know, and you don't have to, it's okay. I know your vocations. And it was amazing, kind of emotional, and beautiful. Every single one of you. Stefan, I know your vocation, man. Just give me a cook. You're, yeah, 100%. It's pretty clear, and it is pretty beautiful. You're supposed to be, you're all supposed to be priests. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're not. I'm just kidding. That's not true. But you're all, every single one of you is supposed to be a father. Every single one of you is supposed to be a father. It was clear to me. Every single one of you. You're supposed to be a father. I'm a father. You are all my sons. Every single one of you are my sons. And I really do feel it. Maybe like if you don't feel it, or if you don't see it in me all the time, I apologize. It's hard sometimes. You wake up and you're eating like a pitcher of Cocoa Crisps. I don't like Cocoa Crisps. And you probably do. I know you do. And then you're kind of just there, and you just, you weren't sleeping well the night before. It's like, sometimes maybe I don't come across as that, but like I do really do love you guys, and I do feel like I'm your father. Well, and I don't have to feel like it. I am your father. I am your father. I actually said that to a lad he was a gifted lad, and I said that to him in confession, and we were confessing, and he actually shouted to me. He's like, "My dad's not my dad." Like, he shouted that, and like the people that were there kind of like, because I said like, yeah, I was actually saying like, God's your father, he loves you, and he had a moment of like panic attack, and he said like, he's like, "My dad's not my dad," and like one of the teachers that was there, because they were like fifth class lads, like the teacher was like looking at me like, "What are you saying to him?" No, but I am your father. I'm Luke. No, so you guys you're all supposed to be fathers. One of you told me something really beautiful this weekend, that when because like his dad, one of you guys, your dad shows up to your matches, and the first thing I thought of was like, oh crap, like the dad shows up to the matches, he's one of those lads, he's like, if you come home without scoring, you're not eating, like the man, he's like trying to like do his best, and then like he ends up playing worse because his dad's at the match. I don't know if you guys have a dad like that. It exists. There's fathers that are like so demanding, and they're so like, when you're playing, you actually play worse because your dad's there. So we were having a chat, and I was like, so do you play worse when your dad's there? He told me he plays better. And he told me something beautiful as well. He's like, when he's playing, his dad has like a certain way of like whistling to him, or whistling, I don't know. And so he knows right away that it's his dad, it's the old man. And he can kind of like direct him and tell him things, give him instructions while he's playing. And he plays better. I like that. Because I'm used to the opposite. I'm used to kind of like seeing these dads that are kind of there, We were coaching basketball to one lad, and we made it to the final, we lost. And he gave the second place medal to Brother Ben, who was coaching. And he said, like, he thanked him for the year, and he thanked him for everything he did. Brother Ben would always start the matches and practices, the trainings with a Hail Mary, with all the lads. And he thanked him for the season, he thanked him for everything he did. And he said, I'm sorry for not performing. He was our best player. He was on the under 16 and under 18 team. He was a beast. And he was our best. And he said he was sorry for not, he wasn't performing, but it's the first time his dad was actually at one of the matches. His dad wasn't at any of the matches. He came to this match because it was a final. And he wasn't making like the most easy layups. He performed really bad. We didn't know what was going on. And he told us afterwards it was because his dad was sitting there. And his dad didn't say anything. But on the car ride home, usually that's when his dad would just start laying into him. Analyzing everything he did wrong. Like the moments he should have passed, or the moments he should have gone up, and he just analyzed everything and he just tore into him. So he's like, in that case, I think he felt Brother Ben, was kind of like more of his father. Because at the end of the day, like, we weren't really hard on these lads. We were always like, saying unlucky, whatever. And so this, when you were saying like, yeah, the thing about the whistling, I thought that was beautiful. Because like, the lad could kind of like fall back on his dad and he could trust him. You guys are going to be, you're going to be fathers. That's your vocation. You're supposed to be fathers. Do you know that? Every single one of you in this room is supposed to be a father. You're going to be a father. It either can be like a father, like, you actually have lads there, and you could be like one of those like jerk dads, the jerk dad, who's just like, he could be absent, or he could be like so hard and so demanding, or kind of distant, or he could be a really good dad, or like his son is like, he loves it when his dad's at the match, or it's different when the mom's at the match. It's a different thing, and she's like, come on, Jimmy, let's go, yeah. And you're like, Mom, shut up. Like, dude, is that your mom? Like, yeah, no. He's like, that can be embarrassing sometimes. Like, if your mom's at the match and she's just like, she's screaming like a cheerleader and you're just like, Mom, come on. But it's different if it's your dad. I owe my dad a lot, and I owe my dad, he taught me how to pray the rosary. I learned how to pray the rosary from my dad. I didn't like it in the beginning, but it was my dad who was saying like family rosary, and he's putting it down. It's different if the dad's telling you to pray the rosary or if the mom's telling you to pray the rosary. When you guys have kids someday, if you're called to be those kind of dads, if you don't teach your kids how to pray the rosary, I'm gonna like completely disown you. Like, after everything we've heard, like, if you're not teaching your son how to pray the rosary, there's a big problem there. You're missing something. It has to come from you. They've done like studies that like when the faith comes from the dad, it's something like 70% or something of the kids will be into their faith if it comes from the dad. Whereas if it comes from the mom, it's a lot lower. You okay, Felipe? Felipe! Like, when it comes from the mom, it's like, all right, expected. Like, moms are holy and they're religious. It's like, okay, mom, and then we love our moms. But like, when the faith comes from the man, it's different. They take to it a lot more. You guys have to do that. You understand me? And I know you're not going to forget this. You're like, well, what is he saying? Like, I'm 12 years old. Like, we married probably about 15, 20 years. Like, it's a bit like early to be saying this. No, it's not. Because what I'm doing is I'm planting seeds in you right now. Father Renee planted a seed yesterday about the pocket. You'll probably never forget that, to have your rosary in your pocket. You'll remember that for like years. And you're not going to forget this either. That you are the father and it has to come from you. Getting you guys up to go to Mass on Sunday. And then there's spiritual fatherhood. Myself. I have like 200 children. Like, or more. Can you believe that? I'm like Abraham. Like, I have a lot of kids, and maybe I don't do a good job. Like, maybe I'm not like doing a great job with all of them, because it's hard. But like, I have a lot of kids. I also have a lot of land, because our Lord said He's going to make us wealthy. Like, He says, like, okay, you're going to leave your country. I left my country. You're going to leave your wife. Your future wife. I did. I'm not married. Like, I don't have a wife that I left behind. Like, sorry, honey. Going to Ireland. I left my wife in the sense that, like, I had a future wife in my mind. I did. She didn't know about it, but, like, it was going to happen. Come on, man. Don't make me look bad. But, like, I had a future wife in my mind that I was going to marry, and then I was going to have, like, a future family. With maybe probably 4 or 5 kids. That was my idea, like 4 or 5. And so like that's my thing. Like, that was going to happen. Like, I left that. It was an idea. I did leave that. And the Lord's like, okay, so if you leave your land, if you leave your family in the sense of like a future project of having a family, don't worry about it. Because you know what's going to happen is I'm going to give you more lands. I'm going to give you more kids. He doesn't say more wives. He says more like sisters. And more brothers and more children. I'm telling you, I've been here for 15 years, and I have been given lands in the sense, like, I consider myself like Spanish, in the sense that I've been in Spain for so long that I love Spain. España. I do. I love Spain. I love Ireland as well. I love Ecuador. I love Italy. These are the countries where I live because I really felt like a piece of me was there, and a piece of them was in me. It's so true, lads. This is like, I'm telling you, these are facts. So he's given me lands, he's given me children as well. Like he's given me like sons and daughters. And he's given me a huge, massive heart. So if you're called to be a priest, this is different. You're all being fathers. You're all going to be fathers. You follow me on that so far? You're all going to be fathers. That's your vocation, okay? So if it's a father and their kids, okay, that's one thing. If you're called to be a father, like a priest father, prepare yourself, because you might have like a heart attack. Because your heart gets so big, it might throw you off guard. You might be so happy and joyful that it just, you die of excitement. That happens as well. Sometimes it happens where we just feel like our heart has gotten so big, like, all right, Lord, just take it easy for a second. Like hold off. Like last night when you're all around the Blessed Sacrament, that was beautiful. Victor was just meditating on it. He remembers it last night. He was saying it was beautiful. Was it beautiful, Victor? Yeah. Victor just wanted to tackle us today in rugby. We were playing tag rugby. We couldn't explain to him that it wasn't tackle rugby. Like, Victor, it's tag rugby. And he just wanted to tackle. So, your heart will expand. I saw last night, you're all sitting around the Blessed Sacrament. Our Lord was in the middle. And he was doing something to your guys' soul that was really beautiful. And, that's when you see, you're just like, okay, there's a lot going on here. It's really beautiful. And one thing is, and this is where we're going to end. When you become a priest as well, Our Lady, Mary, she sees you differently. So before, she already loved you. She really loves you. She loves every single one of you guys. And she really wants to make you into a really good father. She's going to do that. But when you become a real priest, like an ordained priest, she sees you differently. And she takes you in a different way, because she sees, literally, Jesus in you. And she's mad for Jesus. Like Jesus is her whole life. Like our Lord is her whole life. That's all she's just thinking about. And then when she sees you as a priest, she sees you there. So you start experiencing a different relationship with her. So I'm just saying, one thing after another, he's just piling it on. So you have to have a really sturdy heart to become a priest. You can't just be like, oh, I think I'm going to do that. You have to ask for the grace for him to give you a priestly fatherly heart. So with that, we're going to take a moment of silence right now. Thank the Lord that you all know your vocation. Michal, please sit up. We're in Mass. Yep, you as well fit on. Sit up. There you go. So you all thank the Lord. You found out your vocation. Your vocation is to be a father. Whether that be the man of the house who's teaching his kids how to pray, he's going to their matches, he's a really good dad, or if it's a spiritual father, like a priest. So you thank the Lord for giving you that clarity. And if he gives you the clarity, whether it's priesthood or, real physical fatherhood, we'll say thanks as well, because that can also happen at any age.